Hi, this is Anuradha Tiwari. I'm a writer-director. I'm also a part-time psychotherapist and healer. And this is an Ikigai that I discovered a little late in life at the ripe old age of 45. So what is your Ikigai? That is my topic for today. What is your Ikigai? Now, Ikigai is a word that we may have seen on the cover of books. Ikigai is a word that we have seen often on very fancy bookshelves in our friends' houses, or on the book covers of children who sell books at singles, or of course in very fancy bookstores. Ikigai is a Japanese word. Apparently, it comes from a Japanese village where the average age expectancy is 100 years. Now, what does Ikigai mean? Loosely translated, Ikigai means purpose. Ikigai also means Dharma. And now, Dharma, of course, is a multi-layered word. Dharma means many, many things in Sanskrit, in Hindu. But largely, Dharma, when translated into not just English, but an understood, acceptable language, Dharma actually really means what you're born for. Dharma means actually what you're wired for. Dharma means what are you really meant for. So, for example, they say that, a tiger or a lion is not born to be vegetarian. The Dharma of a lion is to kill and eat. Or the Dharma of an impala is to be, just it's all running and eating grass. Or the Dharma of an elephant is to shrink. Or the Dharma of a cow is to give milk. So that is what Dharma really means. Dharma doesn't mean duty, the way it's often understood. So Dharma is purpose. Dharma is what you're born for. Dharma is something that you actually wake up every day to or get out of bed for. Dharma is purpose. Dharma is what you're wired for. Dharma is Ikigai. So what we're discussing today is what is your Ikigai, what is your purpose, what is your Dharma. Now, often we may actually go through life not knowing that at all. And that is a little tragic and that is a little unfortunate because perhaps we haven't got an opportunity to ever think about it. Perhaps no one ever asked us of that, and perhaps we just never had the chance to even go there. So now so the question really is, how do we even arrive at our Ikigai? How do we get to our Dharma? So if you've read the Hindu text in any format, you would know that our lives are often or have been often segregated into 4 ashrams or 4 segments of life. Because life expectancy earlier used to be at least 100 years, much like a Japanese village. I do read that book, we'll get to that later. But when it was 100 years, it was loosely segmented into 25 years each. The first ashram was 25 years of brahmacharya, where a person was expected to be segregated and, studying in an ashram, literally, a gurukul, where you were a student and you just only concentrated on learning of, all the shastras of all kinds and really training yourself on how to be part of, the larger world. Your second ashram was grihastha, where you were expected to be a householder as a man or a woman and actually be part of material life. The third, by the time you were actually 50, was when you were entering vanprastha, where all the attachments of the world were slowly meant to be cut off, and you were actually supposed to start reading the scriptures again in a very different way, because you've actually gone through life a certain way, you've gone through grihastha a certain way. You're probably an empty nester by now, in a different way. And that's when you are expected to look at the meaning of life in a very, very different way and start understanding detachment. And then comes sannyas, which is your last chapter of your life, or, when it's 75 and beyond. Now, when they say sannyas, they don't literally mean that you're expected to go to the forest and, just cut off from life. It's not literal at all. In fact, in most Hindu texts or in most Oriental texts, it's not meant to be literal at all. What they mean is to really live detachment. What they mean is to be here but not really being here. And therefore, that's when the purpose of your life is really meant to come to you in the most fulfilling and most fulfilled and the most spelt out way ever. And that's when your dharma is meant to be lived in the most, most saturated and the most gratifying way ever. And that's when you are meant to understand your ikigai. So today I want to talk about how do you even arrive at it, especially in the winter of your life, or in the most glorious chapter of your life, in perhaps the last chapter of your life, when you reach the climax of your glorious film. So what is your ikigai? It's a great time for you to understand that it's actually not not retirement. It's not actually about just stopping everything and not really knowing what to do with yourself. What if it was actually about understanding what you were born for, because now you're done with your grihas, you're done with actually just waking up to earn money and to just being part of the treadmill. And what if you're done with being part of the humdrum and all the karma actually that you had to pay back? What if this chapter is now finally about understanding what you're meant for, what you were born to do? How do you arrive at that? Now, just through my own personal studies, I look at it in 3 different ways. Now, your dharma, your ikigai can actually be something that you're so good at that you could actually teach. Whether you have students or not of the material, you could get out there on YouTube today or on just WhatsApp videos or wherever. The point is there something you know so well that you can teach? That could be your ikigai. The second thing is that your ikigai can be something that perhaps you could also monetize. Is this something that you could be paid for? Now, for example, you think that only something that is a skill can be paid for, but there are things that people are paid for, which are random things. For example, people are koala bear huggers or panda huggers. People just who go and sit with other people and make them happy. Today, stand-up comedy is being paid for because they just crack jokes. So you don't know what you could be paid for, right? Because essentially you're so good at it that somebody sees value in it. So do you understand what I'm trying to say? When you bring value with something to somebody that can actually be paid for, that is actually the ikigai. But last but not the least, the most important thing is that your ikigai is something that you do seva with. It's something that you just so bring to society, you so bring for other people that just becomes your seva, your give back to society, and that's actually really what your dharma is about. So think about it. What could it be? For some people, it can just be, it's just food that you're so good with. You can just cook it and give it to, people because you can. For some people, it really is literally teaching young kids, street kids, whatever. For some people, it's just feeding dogs and cats. I see so many people who do that, on a daily basis. For some people, it's just making others happy. It's just sending that WhatsApp message, but they do it with a purpose. They wake up to do that. For some people, it's just taking care of plants. For yet others, it's just calling up people and just making sure that they are fine. Now the thing is, these are all really small things. They're not necessarily quantifiable things, but these are things that matter to the world. Compassion matters to the world. Care matters to the world. Is that something that you can bring to the table? So that could be your ikigai. So to sum it all up, what is your ikigai? It's something that drives you on a daily basis. It's something that you wake up for. It's something that you actually sit down with your soul and ask, is this what I'm meant to be? Is this what I was born for? And the answer might just be a resounding yes. So I leave you with this thought, because it is just the most beautiful thing that you can actually not just wake up to, but sleep with every day and keep a happy smile with, because it makes every day of your life so very valued and so very valuable and just so happy. I hope this helps. God bless.